Hey guys, this is Tina B.
And Charmaine G.
We're here to talk about the messiness of life. It's ugly.
And it's raw.
It's real.
And it's a freaking game.
It's whack-a-mole.
Whack-a-mole!
Whack-a-mole. Whack-a-mole.
Whack-a-mole!
This is us.
And our gift to you.
Greetings.
Salutations.
Hey, do the
Greetings
sponsor.
and
Do the sponsor.
salutations.
Do the sponsor.
We
Don't
always
forget to do the
forget these
sponsors.
guys. We can't forget them.
Okay.
Sponsors.
I'll go first.
Okay.
Dixie Moving and Storage. They are an agent for Beacon's Van Lines. Dixie Moving and Storage is a full-service moving company here in St. George. They give free estimates, competitive pricing. They pack, load, and haul your belongings wherever you want to take them. They do long-distance, local, piano moving, and safe moving. Call Dixie Moving and Storage for all your moving needs, because who wants to move in the summer in the desert
Not
when
me.
you can sit back with maybe a mega pint and watch them do the work for you? I got a mega pint shirt. It came in the mail yesterday. I was going to wear it, but
Did you get me one?
no, I want one that says objection hearsay more than anything. Okay,
I like
so
that
Dixie
too.
Moving and Storage. Call Whitney at 435-628-2281, and you can set up a time to get a quote on their website, movingdixie.com. You can do that over the website. They have a little thing that comes up and says, let's chat. Do you have a question?
Ooh, yeah.
So-
I like that. Get your move on today
Dixie
with
Movie and Storage.
Okay, we actually, our second sponsor is Sunset Wellness, and they are located off of Sunset Boulevard here in St. George, Utah. They are a whole wellness program, and they have any kind of supplement. I was talking to the owner today, and he's doing a full body cleanse from his lungs. Yeah, so it's this new supplement, and he was, I'm going to try it. Just because there's so many things out there that are very natural, that are God-given things for us to use, but the research and the scientists, they've got it packed up and ready to buy at this location.
So it's like vitamins and stuff like that.
Vitamins.
Nice.
They even have shrooms and CBD and, the legal
I didn't know
limit.
those were available in
The
St.
legal
George.
limit. There is a legal limit. There is, a little bit of THC, but no, it's legal. CBD, okay? So with that being said, they have the body sculpting for fat toning, skin tightening, things like that, and that's where I like. But they are very smart at what they do. Go visit them today. Call them for an appointment, 922-0962. That's area code 435-922-0962. Desert Homes Pest Control. It is family owned and operated. They are licensed and highly trained. They have to go through these huge tests, and it's not a pass or a fail. Like,
Is it because you're working with all those chemicals?
chemicals.
Wow.
Yes, and all of
That's good to know.
regulations.
Not
Yeah.
just handing that over to anybody.
And continuing education and everything. So they are
Cool.
very, very highly skilled, trained professionals that can work around your schedule. And they do a great job. Call them today at 435-256-0407. Okay.
What are we talking about, kid?
Well, you know what? We're a day earlier because life happens, and I'm going to be having to leave out of town, yada, yada, yada. And Tina says, what do we want to talk about today? Because the trial's over. You know
what are we
I'm
doing
saying?
with I was like, it was, it's not that bad actually, because I can move on to other things. But
All
it
of
was,
the reels
I'm getting
and
more work done.
TikToks, they're not happening as much. So I feel like everybody's maybe going to fall into a depression because
I also
the trial's
did see,
over.
now I'm not hunting for anything, but I do, go on and read some entertainment news, or in my, my news feeds and browsing and all of that good stuff, I see stuff, and it sounds like maybe Disney might be extending an invitation to Johnny Depp to come back as
Smart
Jack
move.
Sparrow. I mean,
Smart
they'd be
move.
dumb not to. I mean, this guy is gonna. I mean, the box office is, first of all, movies, especially after Top Gun, movies are. I mean, it's a big thing now. Like,
Didn't
I
they
think maybe it was
reach
before that. But
126 billion or something? 126 million for the new Top Gun Maverick.
Something, I don't
Sean, why was
remember.
that head slap thing?
Because between billion and million is like a lot.
What was it? I'm asking.
We're in the 250-ish range now.
of million.
Million.
and then
million.
didn't Jurassic Park or whatever the
World
new
comes out June
Jurassic-
10th.
Is that this weekend?
Okay.
Yeah.
this
Something came
weekend.
out last weekend. I don't even know why we're talking about movies. But anyway, they'd be stupid not to. Look at this guy. I mean, the fans have shown up for him. they would be ignorant to not put him in a role. I mean, these people are going to be camping out to watch that. That's just insane.
It's
That's
so true.
I mean, if it's
So
about
smart
money,
on
just
their move.
yeah, they have.
But who else would fill Jack Sparrow?
Nobody.
Nobody. It would be
Nobody.
almost like all these Batmans and these remakes of Batmans. There's 15 Batmans now, and I was turned off.
I've only seen one, and
After
that was
Ben
with Michael
Affleck.
Keaton.
Well, it's not. It's the Batman's about Batman. Pirates of the Caribbean is about Johnny Depp.
It is. It really is.
That's you can't have somebody else play that role.
He created
You know.
that character.
Yeah, I mean, that's-
Batman's been Batman.
Batman. Yeah, everybody's been Batman, but but we used to think the same thing about Christopher Reeve and Superman. And it took a
yeah.
long time to get another Superman.
Yeah.
You know,
Spider-Man's doing the same thing with all these different actors.
Yeah. But then you have other ones like Iron Man and whatnot. That's what they are.
I like Tony
Robert Downey
Stark.
Jr.
Yeah.
Robert Downey Jr. is you can't. But maybe in 10 years you can. So, but yeah, right now you can't put somebody else from. We're going way off topic. My
Yeah,
apologies.
we really are. Okay, reeling it back in.
You bullied me into this.
Oh my goodness.
Billions to millions. There's a big difference, Charmaine. Okay, so
It is.
it is true.
In Sean's defense.
So I'm going to start off this because I was having a conversation with what?
Get closer to the mic.
Like this? Okay.
You got to have it right.
Okay, I was
up there.
talking to my son. I was talking to my son, and here, close up on this. I was talking to my son,
And he's been experiencing bullying.
That's
And
cool.
I grew up, we all know what it's like to be young, and kids can be cruel. And I'm having these conversations. I'm not talking about for 1 year, 2 or 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
And he's, got a lot of social anxiety from that pressure, and his performance in school, his attendance, everything. It really kind of has masticized itself. And I said to him, Landon, it doesn't, just because you're a kid, there's always going to be people in your life that will bully you. And I had that same experience. And like, he lit up, turned his head to me and was like, you get bullied too? And I said, I do. And it's an unfortunate thing because you're dealing with people, the human condition, right?
And it's not when you're little, if I may say. When you're little, you're really just going to school and going home. I mean, you have your little group of friends you might run the neighborhood with, but you can be bullied in the grocery store, at the bank, in a restaurant by a server, or we can bully a server, as a patron, you're just exposed to it a lot more.
A lot more.
When you're out there as an adult.
As a kid, though, you're feeling like your whole world's collapsing
And
on
it
you,
is.
and there's so much aftermath of suicide, and the world's in just completely cyber speed with cyber and social access to where I would like to know how many more suicides are done from online bullying versus
Oh my gosh, I'm sure that's a
huge.
an ever-changing, evolving, growing
Yes.
statistic.
Yes.
Because I don't think that's getting any better. I think we were
No,
just
when you're
talking
behind
before.
the screen.
The whole catfish thing. I mean, that's a segment of it, but it's easy to sit behind a screen. It's easy to sit on your phone. That's why I try not to. I really hate talking on the phone. I mean, I really hate it.
Are you a texter then?
I am a texter, but not all conversations should be texted either.
Oh, no. No.
So I have to kind of, draw the line on if I have issue with somebody, I'm like, okay, now I have to block out a fucking hour to take up this issue with this person. Do I need to chalk it in, ink it in, and then am I going to feel the same way? Is it going to be it's just a whole, okay, that was just a real,
we're
real
rabbit
clear
holing
look
it today.
into my psyche. So go ahead.
No, and so I'm having this conversation with him, and he almost got a sense of relief, like I'm not alone, when mom says I've been bullied at work. And, because as an adult, you're at work more than you are in your home life, because you're sleeping through the night, and you're spent with a majority of people, massive amount of people that have personalities, have character traits, and have, detrimental. You were even talking about a staff meeting that the whole aura and the whole mood changed just by
Nobody
one
said a
person.
word,
Yeah.
and it just went.
Because of one person, and you have this mass amount of people. But I wanted to have this episode because I think it's huge and it's important, and it is it's not invisible, but a lot of people don't know how to deal with it. And there is a difference between bullying and harassment. the about the amount of difference is harassment is illegal, and you have to be in a special classification to be, which is, you know, gender, race, religion, age, and disability. However, bullying is a consistent thing over a long period of time. And many studies that I was looking into, bullying on average lasts over a year. And the majority of the bullying happens from the supervisors and upper management down to, and so can you imagine
Shit
going
rolls
into
downhill. That's, I'm certain, where that phrase comes from. It starts at the top. If you've got a bully at the top, the whole situation, the whole company, the whole chain of command, everybody's being bullied because it's coming from excuse me, because it's coming from the top, and that's what's being taught. That's the precedence that's being set.
Yeah, it is the culture that's created around you. And I was telling because he said, well, why aren't you doing anything about it? And this was like, I'm 45 years old, and I've been in a long-standing career, and there was a change of guard, so to speak, and this new guard that came in was not a good person. I mean, that was his style, and his approach was fear-based. It was intimidation, retaliation, all of the factors that make you not want to go to work, right? And so you decline, and you really kind of get into this mental state of and the pressure of I've got to pay the bills. And I love to do this job, but I'm not being allowed to do my job. And you get isolated. And those things, honestly, it never goes away. It never goes away. And I've always thought you want to treat somebody how you want to be treated, you know. So what constitutes as bullying at the workplace is typically involves continuous or repeated malicious behavior such as deliberate insults, threats, demeaning comments, constant criticism, overbearing supervision, and profane outbursts. That's
a typical day for me. No, I'm kidding.
No, I mean, you actually probably are one of these statistics, even if it's not recent, but over time, you know, their behaviors look like verbal and intimidating and veiled threats. Like, if you think you're going to go on vacation, I wouldn't do that if I were you. I mean, that makes you feel like, am I going to lose my job if I take any vacation hours? And you get denied vacation hours, you know, and then you got, you know, work performance and retaliation. It was my experience, retaliation, because I actually knew factual information. I corrected it, and he didn't like it. He was very malicious on retaliation. And I remember I came into your office a few times, and I said, something's going on, something's going down, and I don't know how to slow this train down. And I can't play this game. Like, I'm worried about my job. And I was in an upper director position, and very successful and good at what I did, and one person can damage your career.
Right. Okay. So let's go back to the conversation you were having with your son. And he said, you know, he talked about being bullied on his level in his school and whatnot, which I don't know that anybody's child is void of that. I think it happens to everybody.
Yes.
So, and is there more severe bullying? Absolutely. But I think that nobody escapes that.
Right.
So back to that conversation, don't you think that how we handle bullying in school is going to dictate
how we move as an adult?
Right. How we move through our life and how we go. Because I know that I've been in situations at work where I'm like, okay, I have felt this way before. And it usually went back to some fucking douchebag boyfriend I had that thought he knew everything or something like that. And I'm like, okay, so this is a different relationship, but it feels like that one. So let's make the connection and figure out what the hell, how am I setting myself up? And why am I, exactly, why am I attracting it? How do I navigate it? Do I need to be here? Because I have a bad enough temper that if I take so much shit and I'm back against the wall, I don't need your job or you or anything. And I will walk. Well, not always.
Well, no. And I mean, honestly, when that happens, you get paralyzed, you get frozen, because you're almost like, I have to have this job. I love my job.
Oh my goodness.
How can I work?
Single mom.
Yeah. Yep.
Single mom. That's all I have to say. And every single mother will tell you, yeah. Do I put up with a certain amount of shit so I can put Cheerios on the table? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and a lot of people, whenever I actually moved forward and I filed with HR, I filed a complaint, and they only targeted sexual harassment. And I said it wasn't sexual. There was no innuendos. There was nothing like that. It was literally toxic, fear-based retaliation behavior, like repeatedly for
So what
6
do you-
months straight.
Yeah, that's not good. So
No.
what did that do to you emotionally, I guess? I don't want you to dive too far into that, but what was the byproduct of that for you? How did you try to cope with it? And when you realized that it was something that maybe you couldn't change or deal with, what was the outcome of that?
So at first, I remember going, seeking out support from my friends and peers and said, I'm experiencing this and I don't know how to, manage this because I feel like, I'm giving unrealistic expectations, time limits and constraints. They don't even know I'm trying to report back. I'm limited on access to other administrators. It's like I was firewalled. I just had that breach.
So were you like outcasted?
Yes.
So so there was a changing of the guard, and a certain amount of people that were perhaps influential
Yes.
went with the new guard because
Yes.
for whatever their motive is to keep their job, or because they really believe in what he stands
Politicians,
for. Right.
yes.
Okay. So there's that, and then so now you are just like you're outcasted. That's what happens.
and other people seeing it from the outside. I mean, I was receiving messages and text when a new policy would pop up and say, Charmaine, I'm worried something's coming for you, and I don't know why. I just have a feeling that you're a target. And this other this manager that was over me, he was knocking people out left and right. I mean, the turnover rate was. I mean, you lose 5 attorneys in 1 year. Those are professional, seasoned positions, and in addition to directorship, and all of them were women.
Oh, well, that's interesting. That's a whole other
It is.
conversation. But I think that men, I think it's a rule. I mean, you watch anything. I love my period pieces as far as like series and what I like to watch, The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Okay. But especially Mad Men. First of all, John Hamm. That's all I have to say about that. But I'm obsessed. I've watched the entire series twice. And it's the 60s. They say things like, Joni, the head secretary, and Elizabeth Moss is, is Peggy Olson, and she'll go, here's your desk and here's your typewriter. Don't be intimidated. The maker says that they make it easy enough for a woman to use, and she's smoking her cigarette, and it's not just the men. It's just the way it is. That's the standards.
It's a culture.
And it is a culture. But I don't think I think it's only been, there's been an awakening for many decades since the 70s, but we haven't arrived anywhere. That's for damn sure. And I think that men think that they can bully women because the minute that a woman opens her mouth, I know this because I have a big mouth. And the moment that I open my mouth, even if I say it with so nicely, I'm a bitch because I'm standing up for myself because women aren't supposed to do that, I guess. I don't know.
I think, and a lot of the statistics show it's not just men, but I mean, 67% of workplace bullying is men. And they usually do target women and lesser coworker status, but women do it too.
Of course.
And so I don't want to just target that. My experience was just that. In the study, and this is a 2021 study, and there's a National Institute, WBI, that does these studies because there is new legislation, there is new federal laws. Not all states have adopted workplace anti-bullying policy. And you could go into your employee manual and it'll say 0 tolerance and all this stuff. But when you actually get down to a complaint, it's dismissed, it's overturned, it's not, I mean, you don't even get an opportunity. And then you get the retaliation, a demotion, or some sort of overburdened workload.
You're a troublemaker.
And your performance evaluations go down. So it's like literally, what was I going to say right here? 49% of American workers are affected by bullying. 49% of American workers are affected by bullying, not just
That's
being
insane.
as the target, but as witnessing it. That's 79.3 million people in America.
Yeah,
that
have
are
you ever worked in a
currently-
kitchen?
Yeah, that's true. And one of the things that I thought was, okay, out of all those people that are getting bullied, targets have 67% chance of losing the job that they loved when they're targeted for bullying.
Say
So
that
it was
again. Say that again.
67% eventually lose their job. When you become a target, if somebody is bullying you and they want you out and they will build a case against you and and it takes time and it takes effort and energy. My experience, he used to set alarms on his phone 3 times a day and send emails after a text and a phone call. Even when I gave him the work, he wouldn't even check his email. And I was constantly saying, well, I just sent that to you in your email. Have you had a chance to read it? And he goes, no, I haven't. And then his phone would go off again. And it was like having Groundhog Day conversation all the time. And I'm like, I know you're busy. I know you're consumed, but I really am concerned about this, experience. In one of the last few meetings that I had, I said, I don't feel comfortable in a room with you. I need to either have a witness or record these conversations because you've yelled at me and you've told me things that should not be done behind closed doors. And that's when it got worse. Mm-hmm. And it was almost like I could hear the clock.
And
I could hear the freaking clock.
And you have to make a choice. You're either going to stand up for yourself and say, look, I don't want to be, alone with you. And you have to almost like pussyfoot around what you say in that conversation. I get it. I get that. I also think that for me, once I found my voice and I learned I love words and I like stringing them together. I've said that more than once. I just, if I can't say how I feel about something without there being some sort of a risk at me losing my job, that's messed up. But I did do it for a long time. I worked for a restaurant, a little mom and pop restaurant, so they said. And I thought this lady was going to chase me out of there with a knife. I mean, it was, and I could hear her husband, the chef behind the line, calling the line cooks, you fucking stupid. I think we get to an age where we're like, nope. But for as long as we'll take it, it's going to come at us. But once we decide we're not going to take it, that's when doors start to open. That's when we go, maybe I wasn't the right person for this little mom and pop place.
Yeah. And so, when that happened to me, and it was overnight. I mean, my whole world shifted to where I'm like, okay, how am I going to pay my mortgage? How am I going to, and it was immediate. Mm-hmm. And I could tell you asked the question, what happened to me? Like, what were the side effects of it? And the paralyzed state, my kids was like, what's wrong, Mom? They immediately knew, and it was for months. I mean, I went in to speak to a therapist about it because I was really trying to move forward and I felt stuck, like just trapped almost. And, it still didn't stop after that. The bullying still continued because of the industry that I was in, and that's where you get into when you're in politics. It's about reputation. And if they want to take you out, they got to ruin your reputation. And I'm here to say you didn't. Motherfucker, you didn't. And I came in and I even told Sean, like, what would you do if you were me? And he had his own personal story when his boss, like, sidelined him and tried to really annihilate him overnight.
Did the stuff I say help?
It actually did, but I wanted you to be more of a cheerleader and say, sue the son of a bitch, sue him. And I could have. And I actually moved forward with the labor union law and a team of attorneys, and I backed out because my heart wasn't in it. Like, I wasn't going to.
There has to be a lot of negative drive force behind pushing something like that through, like divorce.
Yes.
If you want everything.
Yes.
Or you just go, you know what, fuck it.
No, I wasn't going to.
Done over here.
I wasn't going to lose my financial instability or anything to take someone down, because I figured this is what I came to, and it took about 6 months, is he's going to step on his own tongue. He's going to step on his own foot, and he's going to trip and fall himself. I don't need to be the one to ruin a family and to be acting like he is. So I just backed out. Sean, what was your experience like?
We have 57 seconds.
I don't have enough time.
Okay, I know. I think this is an important topic, because what do you do when that happens? So we covered that more bosses do it and men. And why do they do it? I mean, it's a matter of power and control.
The more vulnerable you are, those people I talked about that own that restaurant, they take in people who need things.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they need them.
Yes,
so that
exactly.
they set them up
can
so that they can abuse them and treat them like second-class citizens.
What I did wrong, and I want to educate everybody out there, document the bullying, every encounter, dates, times, save evidence if there is any, report
like a
it, talk
divorce.
to people. When you do confront the bullying, be prepared, they'll come after you even more. But reach out to others. In the name of Jesus
Thank
Christ,
you,
amen.
Charmaine.
You're welcome.
Have a good week.
You've been listening to Whack-A-Mole with Tina B and Charmaine G. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Watch us on YouTube and subscribe to us on iTunes, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Join us next time for, well, whatever may happen with Tina B and Charmaine G on Whack-A-Mole. This has been a production from A Podcast Studio.